Oh, a sound effect. Oh, another sound effect. Would you look at that? Oh, another one. Oh, they're laughing now. Oh, school's out. Wow. Would you believe how crazy that was? Welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday, November 21st already. We are 1 week away from Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday of the entire year. And 2019 is just rolling along, and we're in the home stretch now. Welcome back to Comedy with Christian. This is our 6th episode, believe it or not. I can't believe that already. And today you're stuck with just me again. We might have another guest next week. I'll talk about that in a second. But got some great responses to my episode with Juju last week, which was awesome. We talked for an hour and 40 minutes. So that was a while, and I'm really glad that we got to talk that much. She's awesome. I thought everybody would love her, and they did. And my listenership after that last episode shot up. And the listeners are coming from everywhere now. Like, I got about 92% are coming from the U.S., and then I have the UK, India, Canada, Mexico, Indonesia, Colombia, Australia, the Philippines, Italy, and other. I guess other is on the moon or something. Maybe the astronauts are listening to it on the space station. I don't know if are there people in space right now? I don't know if it's like, if it works like shifts or something like that. Oh, like it's a Tuesday. It's my turn to go up. I don't know. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody who has been listening, whether you started listening from episode 1 or whether you just started. I want to thank you all for listening to the show and supporting the show. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Again, I'm still trying to get my footing, still trying to get this thing off the ground. And that might take longer, but that's okay. You know, to me, I'm having fun right now. And I'm really enjoying it. So, again, thank you so much for supporting. Let's get into today's news. And by news, I mean observations, not the impeachment. Oh, God, what's going to happen? Shut up about the impeachment, all right? Again, that's my rule. No politics on this show. I don't give a shit what's going on. It's unhealthy, and it's toxic. It's actually toxic. So, instead, we're going to talk about a lovely new appliance that I bought for myself. It was not a major investment. It was about $30. Let me preface this. I cannot sleep if I'm sweating. I like to be freezing ice cold when I'm going to bed. This way I can use all the blankets, and the blankets then warm me up. If it's hot, I can't use the blankets, and then I sweat, and it becomes a whole big goddamn mess. So, basically, I bought this thing. It's called like Arctic Air or something. And it's a little box. It comes with a filter that you wet the filter, you put it in the freezer, and it freezes it. Then at night, I take it out, I put the filter back in, and it's a miniature, like, little air conditioner box that blows on the bed. So it got delivered yesterday, and I used it for the first time last night. Had a very good night's sleep, and I haven't been sleeping poorly, but it's been warmer than usual because, you know, AC's not kicking on really because you don't need it this time of year, but we're on the 3rd floor in this building, so the heat still kind of gets trapped up here. Not as bad as maybe like the top floor, but, heat still finds its way up here. So I bought this thing, and I have to say it's really good. So I have that going, and I have one other fan going in the room. So it just sounds like an airplane if you walk past my room. And I couldn't be happier about it. I'm going to take this thing wherever I go. Oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. Oh, shit, you guys are all boring me. I'm just joking. But I'm going to bring this wherever I go because you don't know what the air conditioning situation is wherever you walk into. Sometimes it's like, oh, nope, I ain't sleeping in an 80,000 degree room. Sorry, I will walk home. I don't know. I have talked to a fair amount of people who are like that, who like it cold when they fall asleep. Some people don't care. Some people actually do like it warm when they sleep. Again, and that's your prerogative. That's your choice. You can decide whatever the hell you want to do with your sleep patterns, but I am very protective about my sleep. I love to get at least 8 hours. It's very important to me. I think it's an extremely important part of staying healthy is getting enough sleep. So now I got the workout thing going, and I've always had the sleep thing going. I rotate so many things, and so much of my life revolves around how much sleep I'm going to get. I will sometimes not go out to certain things if I know that I got to get a certain amount of sleep and I have to be up at a particular time. So, again, very protective of my sleep, but I'm proud of it. So anyway, that's the first little bit of news. What else is going on here? Thanksgiving's a week away, which we said. And it's going to be an exciting time, I think. I'm going back up to New York. And there's the other thing that I have to talk about. I finally booked a couple of stand-up gigs. Yay! Wait, there's my laugh track. Yeah. So I don't want to say where they are because I don't want people to see me until I know that I'm good again. And I might do fine when I get back up, but as of right now, in my mind, I haven't been in an official stand-up setting in over a year. And I'm going to be hella rusty. So, hella rusty. And, comedy is just like anything. Practice makes perfect. And if you fall out of practice, it is not like riding a bike. You can't just pick it back up. You got to... Because I'm in the process of reshaping my entire act. And I think I've talked about this on the show. I'm reshaping my entire act to suit where I am in life right now because the things that you're going through in life only work in your bits when you're actually going through them. Excuse me. Holy shit. Why do I keep yawning? I am sorry. How unprofessional of me. But the bits used to be about my germophobia and everything, and I got over that. So I can't joke about it now because I'm not feeling it. I'm not the passion isn't going to come through. So again, I'm reevaluating. I don't want to say what it is. I don't want to say where it is. When there gets to be bigger shows, I will tell people. But right now, I'm doing a couple open mics in D.C. to get involved with the D.C. comedy scene. So we're going to see what happens. Wish me luck. I can use all the prayers I can get. I am writing like a workhorse every single day, writing down bits, and it really helps to write them out because that can really form a nice, tight set. And writing out the bits and then rehearsing and then, before you even decide how you're going to deliver it, you have to write everything out. Delivery comes after. At least for me. I don't know if other people do it other ways, but Anyway, so that's going to be happening very soon. My first one is a couple weeks from now, December 7th. Yeah, December 7th. That's my first DC one, and then I got one up in New York a couple months from now. But again, just kind of planning it out in advance. So, yeah, I can use all the guidance I can get. Last night I made a appearance on my good friend Amanda Martin. She runs a radio show called The Amanda Show, much like the Nickelodeon show from back in the day, which I call Nickelodeon's SNL. That's like kind of where Drake and Josh were discovered on that show. So she runs this show called The Amanda Show. She's still at Catholic University. So I went over there, and she broadcasts it to WCUA Radio. And you can look it up if you want. I always forget the name of the website, but if you Google WCUA Radio, it's going to come up. I guarantee it. And you'll get to the website, and you can find the episode from The Amanda Show. But it was great. We were just riffing. We were talking. We had a great time. It was an hour show, and she likes to split it up with music and everything, which I thought was kind of cool, which I can't do on here on a podcast because it's not open-air radio. And there's a whole lot of copyright issues that can come with that. So I'm actually thinking of having her as my next guest on the show. We were talking about many random things, one of which was Thanksgiving. I might have her on a special pre-recorded episode, Thanksgiving episode, because I don't feel like lugging all this equipment up to New York with me. Plus, it's not my equipment to lug, so I would feel a little wrong taking it into my own hands, bringing it up there. So I'm going to pre-record an episode, and I'm going to try and get Amanda on for that episode, so we're going to see what happens. But it was great. Definitely check it out. Again, Google WCUA Radio, The Amanda Show. So here we are again. November 21st. I am feeling okay. I don't have a job right now. I'm unemployed. But I'm feeling okay. I have to admit. I haven't really seen too many weird, twisted things this week. I have... Here's something that I'll test out here with the audience. Customer service pisses me off anywhere. And that sucks because I did work in customer service for a little while. And I know how challenging it can be. Anywhere where people are dealing with other people is a recipe for disaster. So, I'm going... okay. Just bear with me. I went to McDonald's one day. If you don't like that, then shut the fuck up. Went to McDonald's one day, and they have these kiosks that they've set up. And these kiosks are what serve as your ways of ordering now. Meaning, McDonald's is kind of recognizing that people interacting with people isn't really working because there have been so many issues in the past. I remember some woman had like 9 McNuggets instead of 10 and started beating the shit out of the cashier. So I feel like they're like, if we put the power in their hands in these kiosks, then that'll be different. So I go in, and I expect to just walk up to the counter and do my order. And there's just these people standing behind the counter. These 2 people who work there, standing behind the counter, not really doing anything. I was trying to think of a lighter way to put that, but they were fucking doing nothing. And I'm like, hi. And they're like, hi. And I start reading off my order. I'm like, I'll have a number 2 with a Sprite, blah, blah, blah. And they go, no. And I said, what? Did I say it wrong? Is there no number 2 anymore? What the hell's going on? So she says, no, you have to use the kiosk. We're here to bring you the food. You have to use the kiosk to order. But I said, that doesn't make sense to me. There's 2 of you standing right here. Why can't you take the fucking order? And they said, well, you have to use the kiosk. So I said, fine, use the fucking kiosk. So I go up, I select my thing. Felt better about it because I do a lot of specifications on my stuff. Burgers, I get cheese and ketchup on it. That's it. Any freaking leaves crawling around on my burgers makes me feel weird. It makes me feel like an animal. So I don't, even though I am an animal, humans are animals. We are mammals. That's a separate discussion, though. So I do some specifications with that, and it feels better to just punch it in on a screen than to tell somebody that. And they go, and then they mess it up. So I order it, and oh, get ready. So they give me the tray with the food. Or rather, it's in a bag because I was taking it to go. You can't eat inside of a McDonald's. That's awful. It's like taking a shit on a Greyhound. You just don't do it. The Greyhound is for transportation, not for anything else. McDonald's is for getting the food, not for anything else. So I'm going, and they give me the bag, and they give me an empty cup. And I said, well, where's my Sprite? And they said, you have to fill it up. And I said, well, excuse me, but you didn't tell me that at the kiosk. But anyway, bit my tongue. I fucking went. And then I always check my burger before I leave because I have these specifications. And if they fuck it up, I'm going to let them know about it. So sure enough, I open up the little burger box. I always like that touch. They keep the burgers in a box, not in a bag. I've always liked that touch. And you open it up, and there's lettuce on the burger. So I said, oh, here we fucking go. So I go up, and it's a different woman standing behind the counter, of course. So I didn't get to shove it in the face of the other person that was there. And I said, excuse me, there's lettuce on this burger, and I did not want lettuce. And she's like, oh, well, okay, I'm sorry. Did you tell that to the cashier? And I'm like, I am the fucking cashier. You told me to go to the goddamn kiosk. I put in no lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, none of that. I want cheese, and I want motherfucking ketchup. Needless to say, I got what I wanted, and I left. But I hate this all, let's make people work even when they're not getting paid for it. And this is a bit that a lot of comedians have done as far as like self-checkout goes in the grocery store, which is why I wanted to put my own twist on it, not talk about self-checkout. I don't like stealing bits from people. That's wrong. And I understand that it happens all the fucking time. Excuse me. So yeah, that frustrated me a lot. Anyway, moving right along. We got some big news coming out. There is going to be a sequel to Joker, which is not a shock. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's a shock because this was very much created as a standalone thing, and the director, Todd Phillips, said it's going to be a standalone thing set in a completely different time period, not attached to any other larger DC Universe thing. So that part's shocking. And because Joaquin Phoenix really doesn't like franchises. He likes to do parts, and, you know, that movie was a character study, and I assume the second one will be very similar to that also, and just delve deeper into the character. But when I heard about it, it wasn't shocking because, fuck, I keep yawning. Oh my god. This is bad. I'm just yawning like I don't even know what yawns a lot. I don't know. It's not shocking because of how much money this thing has pulled in. It made over $1 billion, which is crazy for an R-rated movie. R-rated, low-budget, one-off comic book movie that's not attached to any other bigger universe. Like, that's astounding, and I don't think anybody expected it to make that much money. Warner Brothers only gave them a budget of $60 million for the movie, around there, which is not a lot in today's in today's movie market. Not a lot at all. You want to talk about like Avengers or something like that, you're talking like $250, $300 million budgets. So for something like this, for a budget of $60 million to come away with over $1 billion, they made a very big profit on it. And so I'm extremely happy. Again, it's my favorite movie of the year. So the thing is, I'm excited about it, but also very wary about it, because I feel like that movie was just so good by itself. However, I do think it would be really interesting. This is not a spoiler, but he really doesn't become the Joker until the last maybe 10 minutes of the movie. The whole movie is a beautiful build-up to those last 10 minutes, but he really doesn't become the Joker until the last 10 minutes of the movie. So it'd be interesting to explore the character even more now that he is the Joker, and to explore kind of where it goes from here, where he goes from here. But for the movie to make that much money, it's a no-brainer that they would go forward with a sequel. Now, I heard that it's not completely official yet. Like, Warner Brothers hasn't released a statement on it. Todd Phillips hasn't released a statement on it. Joaquin, nobody. But it was first reported, I think, in the Hollywood Reporter, which is a extremely reputable source. And it was then shared by several other reputable sources as well. So then it just kind of trickled down. But I have heard that it's not official yet. Again, even if it's not official right now, I'd be shocked if it didn't happen. Just because of the money aspect. Because, and we've talked about this on the show before, movie making is a business. It's a big business, and they're going to go with whatever makes the money. I'm really glad that it made as much money as it did. I'm really glad that so many people went out to see this thing. As far as what they could do with the sequel, I don't really know. Aside from delving deeper into his character, the other side of this I heard is that Todd Phillips, the director, is also doing an entire slate, or wants to head up. You know, I don't know if he's going to direct every one of them, but might be like the overseeing producer of it. Origin stories for several more DC villains. You know, which DC Comics, when you compare DC Comics and Marvel Comics, DC, their villains are, you can't even compare it, 30 times better. Marvel is very character driven, and I'm not going to say Marvel's heroes are better, but DC's villains are without a question extremely deep, profound characters that have motivations. And he wants to do an origin story for a lot of them. As far as what they're going to do, there's room for speculation there. I think the second Joker movie is going to come before any of those. So it'll be a while. It'll be a couple of years for sure before we see anything. But I think they could definitely go into the Penguin. He's pretty interesting. The only big screen iteration I've seen is with Danny DeVito from Batman Returns, which was a good movie. Catwoman, they're probably going to try and do a Catwoman thing. Because there was an awful, awful Catwoman movie with Halle Berry, which was just a garbage movie, and it wasn't her fault. She was doing the best that she could with what they gave her. But I think they're probably definitely going to try and do justice to Catwoman, and much like the Joker movie, they're going to make it a very dark, gritty kind of story. And maybe they'll do a movie where all these villains meet each other. I have no idea. But I just hope that it doesn't become this huge machine and turn into movies that get like the $250, $300 million budget, because I don't want the quality to go away. I like this small independent movie feel that the Joker movie had. And granted, that won't work for all of the villains. You do someone like, like if you do Lex Luthor, which that'd be kind of difficult to do, but it would be especially difficult to do on the independent film feel kind of scale. Joker works like that because all of his stuff is inward, and it's all about dissecting a truly disturbed individual. Lex Luthor, at least the way he's been portrayed from what I know, he's a big business guy and he gets involved in a lot of shit. Superman's his arch enemy, stuff like that. And I'm sure you could make a great movie out of it, but I'm sure it would be a different feel than the Joker. Because DC has tried before to make all their movies dark and gritty. It worked with Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight movies. Those are great movies. Dark Knight's my favorite movie of all time, as we've said. Those movies, it worked, the darker tone. Then they took it a step further when Man of Steel came out. I guess that was in, 2013. They did that with Man of Steel, and to me, the movie's okay. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think there's very good things and very cool things that go on in Man of Steel, but I also think that there are a lot of things that don't work. One of them is how fucking dark they decided to make that movie. When it works for a character like Batman or the Joker, who are inherently dark characters. Batman is a deeply damaged person. Superman is supposed to be the beacon of light and hope and everything. And they decide to put him into this dark, extremely dreary world. And that's what they did with Man of Steel. Then they took it even a step further when Batman vs. Superman came out. And that movie, again, I thought it was okay. I'm in the middle on it. There are a lot of problems I have with it, but I also think that there are a lot of really great moments in that movie and a lot of really cool things. We won't talk about Martha. But again, they took that a step further when that was a 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie with no jokes, no comedic, like people barely cracking a smile. And I get it. Our world is dark. I get it, and I get that Gotham City's supposed to be this awful, horrible place where you can get shot just by stepping outside your home. But, that doesn't work for Metropolis for me. Metropolis I saw as this great advanced city that Superman was a part of. So again, I hope. Then they tried with Justice League, which I did not like. I'm not in the middle on that one. I just straight up didn't like Justice League. Then they tried to reverse the tone entirely. Yes, it was still dark and gritty, but they put in just copious amounts of humor in there, which was very jarring from what they had before. They couldn't find some kind of comfort zone with the jokes. So again, I'm hoping if they do these villain movies that they're careful with how dark they make. Because even for Joker, however dark it was, and it's dark, and it's twisted, and it's disturbing, there are still moments of humor in there. There are. Very few, but there's moments of humor. Because you have to have that. Even the Dark Knight movies, they had moments of humor. But for something like Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman, where nobody even cracks a fucking smile, like, you gotta... And I get it. They wanted to separate themselves from Marvel. Marvel is the lighthearted, fun, even though those movies do get very serious from time to time. Those are the lighthearted fun where there's a lot of banter going on between the characters, and that's how those movies have thrived. And they wanted to set themselves apart from that and be like, no, we're going to take this so seriously, but you gotta include humor. Even in the Joker movie, there was humor. So that's my lesson of the day. Include humor in your movies wherever you can. I don't care how dark it is, how twisted of a subject, there has to be some kind of relief. And we talked about it on the last show. I'm going to get real fucking nerdy here again, but Shakespeare used to do it. You read any of his stories, they're all pretty dark and fucking twisted, but he would always have moments of humor in there that would either follow immediately after something horrible happened, or they'd be right before something horrible was about to happen. And there's a specific term for it that I can't recall. And again, so you gotta have that. I'm gonna Google this here. Let's see, Shakespeare humor technique. What are the elements of Shakespeare's comedy? No, that's not what I want. This is bringing back fucking nightmares of research projects and all this shit. Oh, this goddamn PowerPoint. Oh my god. Anyway, include your humor, all right? And I'm not just saying that coming from a comedic perspective. I'm saying that coming from a filmic perspective. Filmic is not a word. I had a professor who used filmic at one point, and he insisted it was a word, I'm guessing, but I don't think it is. Let's see. Better be something than this fucking Shakespeare humor thing. Irony. Boop. Okay. This is true. Romeo and Juliet is a romance that begins as a comedy and ends as a tragedy. Sure. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. The humor in... I don't know who did this PowerPoint, so I don't know who to credit here. www.public.asu.edu. This is just in a PowerPoint by Don L.F. Nilsson and Aline Pace Nilsson. the humor in Shakespeare's tragedies is more important than is that in his comedies. When the tragedy becomes unbearable, Shakespeare inserts humor not only for comic relief, but also to contrast with the stark tragedy that came before and will surely follow afterwards. It's exactly what we were just talking about. You have the drunken porter scene in Macbeth. The fool is smarter than the king dialogue in King Lear. I've actually never read King Lear. The Polonius in the Wing speech in Hamlet, and the Gravedigger scene in Hamlet. Gravedigger scene, I think, is where I was first aware of this thing that he. But again, I went on there to find the name of what it was called, but I didn't find it. So, yeah. Again, Joker sequel. Looking forward to it. Again, I'm wary about the other things, the other villains, but I think this is all good news. If Todd Phillips is involved, I trust him now. So yeah. Last piece of stuff I want to get into is television. I told you that I wouldn't really be watching much television because it's hard to get invested in a show, but a show that I have been invested in for the past year or so just had its last season put onto Amazon Prime, and that is The Man in the High Castle. I don't know how many of you have ever watched this show, but if you haven't, you need to go watch it. And if you don't know about the premise, I don't want to spoil anything, but the premise of the show is essentially, what would the world look like if the Allies had lost World War II, and if the Nazi, the Axis powers won the war. And so they even show you in a map in the opening credits that, the United States fell, and it is controlled by Nazi Germany. And they have the majority of the land in the United States. They have the entire East Coast, and then everything up until about just past the Midwest. I'm horrible with my geography, so I don't know which state. But then there's a neutral zone in the middle of that, which is kind of like where there's no law and order. It's all chaos because there's no governing body there. So people do decide to live there, but it's just there's nothing going on there. And there's no protection from anything, and food is harder to come by. It's really just farmers. And then on the West Coast, and a big chunk, the entire West Coast, north to south, and then a big chunk going in, that's what the Japanese Empire has. So it's a scary thought. For me, it's like not even thrill. Like, this is horror. And when I first started watching it, I'm like, I don't know if this can catch on, but it gets you involved. Check it out. So they just put the 4th season up, and I'm eating it up. This is the last season, they're saying. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to wrap up the story, how they're going to wrap up a lot of different storylines that have happened. The acting is good. Some actors in it I feel like are kind of phoning it in, but that may be because the dialogue that they have really isn't that great. So I don't know. But there is one guy who acts extremely well. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but just who he is as a character. It's played by this guy, Rufus Sewell. And he's a British actor, and all British actors are incredible. But he's playing an American, a former American who fought for the U.S. Army in World War II. Then they lost, and he became a Nazi once everything kind of fell apart for the United States. He became a Nazi, and he acts the part really well. He just struggles with his past, and he's an extremely high-ranking Nazi official in the United States portion of Nazi Germany. And this guy acts it out really well. He struggles with his past. He is devoted to the Nazi cause. However, they do not shy away from the fact of how much he struggles with it. And that, to me, is the most fascinating character arc going on in the show. So I cannot wait to see how that is wrapped up. Anyway, I've gone on for 40 minutes. Again, that's my target range. I hope you enjoyed listening. Sorry there wasn't much humor going on today. There's a lot of movie talk and TV talk, but I do what I want. I hope you all have a great weekend. I will talk to you on Tuesday, rather. And again, I'm going to try and pre-record a Thanksgiving episode that'll go up on Thanksgiving, and I'm going to try and get Amanda Martin in here for that episode. So, that being said, have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. Stay on the bright side of life. Enjoy.